background?
Sure. Super brief. My name's Jonathan Simmons. I'm the COO of Pavelcomm Inc. We are an IT managed service provider, low voltage cabling and voice solution company out of Portland, Oregon. We have a mission to provide the best customer service experience our clients have ever had. We've been operating for almost 40 years. We have about 50 employees and support about 3,500 users and about 5,000 endpoints here in the Pacific Northwest. I've been here for about 7 years now. I came up, I joined the Marines right out of high school, came up in service and then went into sales through a lot of different industries, and just kind of landed here through some personal contacts 7 years ago that wanted me to join and see if I could help improve the culture internally, break down some silos, and see if we can get the whole company aligned in a good direction.
I already knew I was excited to talk to you, but as you talk about culture and like how you were brought in to affect that, I'm even more excited.
That's great.
So we'll go ahead and just jump into
Sure.
To some of the questions that we have. So my first question for you is, do you subscribe to any particular style of leadership, like democratic, servant, transformational, anything like that? Like anything that guides the way that you lead?
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever labeled it to that degree where like it's been that intentional of like, this is the type of leader I am. But I think when I really analyze and dissect it, I would say it's probably a mix of like a transformational and maybe charismatic. I think that as leaders, we have a responsibility to not only cast the vision. I think we do. Like we have to be the ones to cast the vision of where are we going, where do I see us in the future. But more importantly, as we cast that vision, we have to enroll our staff in the vision. Like I need to be able to show them this is the future that I see, and I need to show them that from their perspective, and I need to enroll them in that and get them to buy into that vision. And then when they do, I think that's when the really cool things start to happen, because now I can challenge and more importantly, I can empower. And so it's like I don't have to say, well, this is where we're going, and I'm just dragging everybody along. I get to say, hey, this is what I see. Are you in? And when they say yes, great. Here's where we're at, and here's the challenges we have. And I get to empower that team to solve problems that help us get closer. And what I love about that is when you hire smart people and people smarter than you, and I empower them to solve problems, and I know that they're bought in and moving us in the right direction, a lot of times that like end goal, it just gets even better because they're coming up with solutions that oftentimes are better than what I might come up with if it's all up to me. So yeah, I think to kind of put a bow on that, we have a responsibility. We cast the vision, we enroll the staff from their perspective, and then we move to action and measure and make sure that we're measuring our progress to know we're going in the right direction. So all of that, I think, if you dissected it, it would be transformational and maybe a little bit more charismatic.
Okay, yeah, that's really in line with some of the lessons that I've been learning in this class that I'm in right now. They talk about leadership being contingent on the person, so it sounds like you're really focused on that too, as like you're getting their, you're finding out what motivates them, you're sharing why they're doing things. And under each of those subsets that you just listed, there's probably like 8 other steps that you're either going through either intentionally or unintentionally. So that's really interesting to hear.
It's like not to belabor, and I want to be respectful of time, but you have to know who you're enrolling, right? It's like executives, they speak finances, right? So when I'm enrolling the owner of the company to this vision, I have to talk about the financial benefits that we're going to get. Managers think in systems, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have to talk about how the improvement of these systems get better as we move here. And your frontline, help desk or whatever, they think in tasks. And so it's like if you understand the language of the people that you are leading, you can enroll them a lot easier.
So task, system, and finance. I really like that breakdown. That's super interesting. I'm gonna have to talk more about you. Talk more with you offline about that, because I'm trying to move from into more of a managerial role and be less focused. Okay. Well, so second question then for you, either through personal or professional means, have you studied leadership?
Absolutely. I read a lot, for sure. I think Simon Sinek is somebody that I just really love. He's one of my favorite speakers and authors on leadership. Two books that come to mind, Start With Why and Leaders Eat Last. I think Jocko, I think most people know Jocko, and Extreme Ownership. That's another really good one. I think from a foundational perspective, anybody that's kind of getting into leadership, those are good ones to start with. I also did a lot of leadership training when I was in the Marines as a young man, which I think absolutely had some value, but I did, full transparency, it was a drastic difference I found getting out of the military and the way that you can be an effective leader in the military versus in the civilian world. In the military, everybody's already bought in. Like we're all there for the thing we signed up for, right? And so it's easier to just say, here's the mission, let's get it done, and we're getting it done. And then in the civilian world, it's like, here's the mission, let's get it done, and you'll have people say, no, I don't like that. It's like, wait, you can just say no, like. And so navigating the civilian world was a little bit of culture shock for me as a young man. But I think those books, any podcast or videos you can find on Simon speaking about leadership, very, very good. I would highly recommend.
I actually read Extreme Ownership a few years ago, and talking about marrying military experience with civilian, I thought that Jocko and Leif Erikson or whoever, did a really good job of like taking those real world lessons that they learned in the military and applying them into like a civilian setting, like saying like almost like confirmation, like, hey, do you understand what it is that I'm asking you to do? How can I help you to understand? You talking about like the indoctrination kind of that you get from military leadership. Like I had always learned that the definition of leadership was providing purpose, direction, or motivation, purpose, and direction in some order. And I found that to be true, but it's not as black and white. And people don't have to listen to me because I'm in a position of authority or because they want to go home early, something like that.
And sometimes, I would say oftentimes, it's beneficial for you to listen to your staff, right? Like here, I said it earlier, I want to hire people that are smarter than me. And so then I get to come to them with problems and say, here's the challenge. Here's what we're faced with. What do we got? And yes, do I have an idea of what I think we should do? For sure. But I'm not going to speak first. I want them to come to me because a lot of times they may have those solutions that are better. And I think the military, it almost teaches you the opposite in some degree. It's like, no, you need quick, decisive. You're the one in charge. You make the call. And so yeah, that was a bit of a shift in thinking that I had to apply.
Okay. I was actually going to ask if you had drawn some leadership insights from any non-traditional areas, military being one, but are there any other areas in your life that you've drawn any other kind of leadership from?
Yeah, I don't know if it would be, I think it might be considered non-traditional, but I really like the writings on Stoicism. So like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, these are all books that are writings that I think maybe would apply to a current world definition of like emotional maturity. So very much about like control and acceptance of circumstances and embracing hardships, right? And not, if the building's on fire, I'm not screaming and panicking. I'm accepting this is what's happening. Let's move to action. And I think as a leader, that's really, really important. Like, leaders should be emotionally mature. We should be able to look at problems as opportunities. And when everybody's panicking, we're the ones that are calm and directing and guiding and moving us towards solutions. So I think that's probably the most non-traditional, perhaps, that I could think of that I lean in on.
I love that, problems as opportunities. That really
Yeah.
stuck out. In this course that I'm taking, I had learned that, a problem was just like a barrier to get to where you want to be. And they said it better, but that's kind of in line with, again, with what I'm learning. Which he wasn't even teed up to this, by the way. Anybody watching this? Well, so next question I would have for you is, how do you measure success as a leader?
I think measuring success is multifaceted. I have responsibilities to many different groups. As the COO of this company, I have a responsibility to the owner of the company that the direction we're going is increasing revenue and profits, right? That I have a fiduciary responsibility for that. I have a responsibility to our staff to provide a great place to work that challenges them and empowers them and gives them an avenue for growth and provides an environment that they want to actually show up and work in. I have a responsibility to clients that we have to understand the value they need to see in a partnership and make sure that all of the processes and systems and staff and things that we have and what we do are consistently meeting and exceeding that value. So I think that all of those things have to be measured in different ways, but you can look at the results of those things to see where do we need to invest more effort in. I mean, you obviously have your standard KPIs, right? Key performance indicators and data trends that we use to measure all of that. I use data to measure finances. I use data to measure staff performance. I use data to measure client satisfaction. But from a high level, those are the main areas that I'm looking at when I'm trying to measure, am I successful as a leader in this role?
I just want to say thank you very much for your time. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here. So this is our like